Algorand value equivalent to 368 rands a coin. The present cost range 3/936 718. The earlier day close 761. The change was plus 0.607, plus 175%. Reverse rate ZAR to Algo. Algorand cost expectation for September 2024. Initially cost at 299 rands. Excessive cost 371, while low cost 299. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 319. Algorand cost figure toward the month's end 347. Change for September 16 to 1%. Algorand figure for October 2024. Before all else cost at 347 rands. Excessive cost 378, while low cost 318. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 352. Algorand cost gauge toward the month's end 353. Change for October 17%. Algorand cost expectation for November 2024. To start with cost at 353 rands. Exorbitant cost 438, while low cost 353. The found the middle value of cost 388. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 409. Change for November 15.9%. Algorand conjecture for December 2024. Before all else cost at 409 rands. Excessive cost 507, while low cost 409. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 450. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 474. Change for December 15.9%. Algorand cost expectation for January 2025. Before all else cost at 474 rands. Excessive cost 529, while low cost 459. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 489. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 494. Change for January 42%. Algorand conjecture for February 2025. Before all else cost at 494 rands. Excessive cost 586, while low cost 494. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 531. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 548. Change for February 10.9%. Algorand cost expectation for Walk 2025. At the outset cost at 548 rands. Excessive cost 548, while low cost 458. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 512. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 493. Change for spring 10%. Algorand conjecture for April 2025. Before all else cost at 493 rands. Excessive cost 493, while low cost 392. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 450. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 412. Change for April 14.4%. Algorand cost expectation for May 2025. To start with cost at 422 rands. Excessive cost 459, while low cost 399. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 427. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 419. Change for May 17%. Algorand conjecture for June 2025. At the outset cost at 429 rands. Excessive cost 429, while low cost 352. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 397. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 379. Change for June 11.7%. Algorand cost expectation for July 2025. At the outset cost at 379 rands. Excessive cost 412, while low cost 358. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 384. Algorand cost figure toward the month's end 385. Change for July 16%. Algorand figure for August 2025. Initially cost at 385 rands. Excessive cost 385, while low cost 312. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 360. Algorand cost figure toward the month's end 346. Change for August 10.1%. Algorand cost expectation for September 2025. Initially cost at 346 rands. Excessive cost 395, while low cost 343. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 363. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 369. Change for September 6%. Algorand conjecture for October 2025. Before all else cost at 369 rands. Excessive cost 458, while low cost 369. The arrived at the midpoint of cost 406. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 418. Change for October 16%. Algorand cost expectation for November 2025. In the first place cost at 428 rands. exorbitant cost 465, while low cost 405. They found the middle value of cost 433. Algorand cost gauge toward the month's end 435, change for November 16%. Algorand gauge for December 2025. In the first place, cost at 435 rands, exorbitant cost 473, while low cost 411. They found the middle value of cost 440. Algorand cost gauge toward the month's end 442, change for December 16%. Algorand cost expectation for January 2026. First and foremost, cost at 442 rands, exorbitant cost 486, while low cost 412. They found the middle value of cost 451. Algorand cost estimate toward the month's end 454, change for January 27%. Algorand estimate for February 2026. To start with, cost at 454 rands, exorbitant cost 564, while low cost 454. They found the middle value of cost 5 isn't. Algorand cost estimate toward the month's end 527, change for February 1%. Algorand cost expectation for Walk 2026. To start with, cost at 527 rands, exorbitant cost 527, while low cost 433. They found the middle value of cost 488. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 466, change for spring 11.6%. Algorand conjecture for April 2026. Before all else, cost at 466 rands, excessive cost 544, while low cost 466. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 496. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 508, change for April 90%. Algorand cost expectation for May 2026. Before all else, cost at 508 rands, excessive cost 552, while low cost 480. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 514. Algorand cost gauge toward the month's end 516, change for May 16%. Algorand conjecture for June 2026. At the outset, cost at 516 rands, excessive cost 561, while low cost 487. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 522. Algorand cost conjecture toward the month's end 524, change for June 16%. Algorand cost expectation for July 2026. Initially cost at 524 rands, excessive cost 569, while low cost 495. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 530. Algorand cost figure toward the month's end 532, change for July 15%. Algorand figure for August 2026. Initially cost at 532 rands, excessive cost 572, while low cost 498. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 534. Algorand cost figure toward the month's end 535, change for August 0.6%. Algorand cost expectation for September 2026.